welcome to another episode of The Drummer's Guide to. Today I want to talk about a subject that has been put forward by L.M. Reid, and this was a little while ago, but they were asking, I would say he or she, but I'm not sure if it's he or she. I think it's a she, but I'm not sure. They were basically asking about Charlatan syndrome or imposter syndrome, and this is something that, as far as I'm aware, from every musician I've ever spoken to, we have always had, like, we've all had this, or we still have this. I certainly still have it occasionally, and it's a nightmare, to be honest. It is an absolute nightmare. It's basically just feeling like someone's gonna knock on your door any day now and just go, stop it, stop. I know that you're not doing it, and you know, you're a charlatan, you're an imposter, so just stop. And I've had this for as long as I can remember. It's slightly less now because I have a few ways that I deal with it, but I think just knowing that everyone sort of goes through this kind of makes it okay. And weirdly, I think that this is the reason that people get so good at stuff, is because they're so terrified of being found out that they're like, well, I better work harder. So yeah, basically. So here's how I deal with this. And like I said, I do have this still occasionally where I just feel like, oh my God, I'm sort of getting away with this, I guess. The first thing that I will always do is I will look at where I'm at. For instance, let's say if I was feeling like this right now, let me look at where I'm at. And like I said, there are elements of what I do that I still feel like a charlatan, but it's alright, I'm working on it. So I'll recognise, okay, yeah, but maybe I am an imposter. However, I am making a full-time living from playing the drums, and I have done for the last 11 years. So surely you couldn't be making a full-time living if you were actually an imposter, and especially for this song. So surely that doesn't make sense. Also, you know, I might be feeling like a bit of an imposter in the studio, which I do a lot. I'm like, oh my God, it's only been open for 3 years. Like, surely that can't be right. But then I think, well, but I have been recording a lot of tracks for people, and no one's sent them back, if you know what I mean. Like, no one's gone, I want a refund, this isn't good enough. Actually, people have been very positive about it. So, I mean, surely I can't be that much of an imposter. So anyway, that's how I start out my sort of like, you know, process. Although, even in saying that, right now, even in my head, I'm still going, yeah, but, yeah, you know, I've been working with a lot of clients, yeah, but this X, Y, Z. So then what I do is I look at the X, Y, Z. You know, what is it about, let's say, my studio side of work? What am I feeling a bit kind of like insecure about? What am I feeling like I'm not as in control of that I would like to work on? Okay, well, let's notice that. Let's even write it down. Same with my playing. There are elements of my playing that I am certainly not comfortable with, that I am very shaky about, and it might not even be physically, it might not even be in reality, but in my head I don't feel like I'm good enough in that area. Cool, let's write it down. And then what do? I start working on it. I did a video a little while back where about this gig that I'm working towards the end of the year, and it was an opportunity to work on my reading. Reading is one of the parts of my playing that I just think, well, I can't be a professional drummer, a good drummer, if I can't even read. But the thing is that I can actually read, just not to as high a standard as I hold myself in every other part of my playing. So I need to recognise that, and it's like, okay, but you can get better at that, so go get better at it. So that's what I'm doing, so it's good. I like that opportunity came up, because it's literally made me have to just like pinpoint it and just totally go, right, do it. So I think the next step of that whole charlatan imposter syndrome is to recognise that you have a choice, you have control over this. So okay, you're feeling vulnerable about something, go work on it, get comfortable with it. Overwork it, like you totally overdo it to the point that you're like, I can't believe I was ever like feeling a bit weird about this. I can totally nail this now, and try and put yourself in as many different situations to really like plug up that hole, if you like, if you see it like a hole in your playing, and just really have so much experience in it that actually it's not an issue anymore. Because you have to remember that at some point everything was an issue, everything was a challenge, you know, even just playing a simple beat at some point that was incredibly difficult, but you got enough experience of playing loads of different types of beats that that first initial gat was easy and is easy. So you just got to recognise and look at the evidence, if you like, of your past experience in learning your instrument or doing whatever you're doing right now. It might not even be an instrument, it might be something completely different. So there's that. The third thing that I try to do, I say try because I don't do it all the time, and every time I fall out of this, then it definitely harms me, is I try not to compare myself to others. And I say, unfortunately or fortunately, growing up when I first started learning, because me and Charisse, my best friend, both started playing drums on the same day, literally at the same time, we were inevitably comparing ourselves to each other, which is great because it pushes you, but there is a point that it becomes detrimental, I think, and I think it's fine if there's just two of you and best mates, so it wasn't like this competitive in a nasty way, it was like in a really encouraging way. We really supported each other's journey so much, still continue to, but these days, you know, we didn't have social media back then. Social media it's wonderful in so many ways, but if you're seeing posts and they're making you feel bad about what you're not doing, I'd say maybe mute those people, or maybe don't check their Instagram or their Twitter or Facebook as much, because I think anything that makes you feel not good enough and takes you off your journey, because I know that if I sometimes see those posts, they make me feel like, oh, why am I even bothering, like, but then I just have to knock myself out of it and go, don't be ridiculous, you're doing this for completely different reasons. You need to know your reasons and just keep doing it. That's me talking to myself, by the way, not to you. Sorry, I would never speak like that to anyone else apart from myself. So I think, yeah, sort of recognise what's making you feel. Equally, you might be seeing posts that make you feel amazing, like you can do something. Maximise those posts. If they inspire you to just push that a little bit further, absolutely do that. The other interesting thing about not comparing yourself to others, especially on social media and all that sort of stuff that I've found, is that if you sort of contemplate and like muse on, I don't know if that's the right word, but if you just think for a long time about what you want to be doing and what would you like to see and what would be inspiring to you and what do you think would inspire others, or just thinking about different ways of doing things or different ideas, sometimes if you have that outside influence, it kind of skews what you think you should be doing because other people are doing it. In my experience, of course it's just my experience, as all of these videos are all about just my experience, you end up coming up with ideas that are slightly different, that people aren't doing, but then people might start going, I'm going to do that too, which is a lovely feeling. It's really nice to think that people might be inspired by what you're doing. So just, you know, find ways to cultivate your creativity in not just playing, but maybe in social media and stuff like that. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit like I need to find stuff out, I need to think on things, I usually either go for a very long walk or a very long drive. Driving and just general travel, just movement, seems to really get my creative juices flowing, and that's where all the sort of like idea for the STEM Club came from. So every week I release new drum stems for people to download and use in their music completely for free, and I just thought it would be a really good idea because then I get to give back to people that maybe can't afford to hire me as a drummer, but equally it means that I also get to showcase what I can create in my studio. So it really is like a win-win situation. There is no loser in that situation, and it's lovely, and I've been meeting so many amazing musicians, and hearing their music and what they do with the stems is just so inspiring in itself. but that came from just thinking on it. It wasn't about researching, what is everyone else doing? I want to be doing what everyone else is doing. It was like, no, okay, well, what do I want to do? How do I want to include everyone? How do I, I'll go into this another time, but I'm very big on thinking about when I was younger. And when I was younger, I didn't have any money, but I just wanted to be the best that I could be. I still feel like that. I still just want to be the best that I can be. And like I said, I didn't have any money. I wouldn't have been able to afford me playing on my music if I was another musician, if that makes sense. But if I knew that there was a resource out there that was a really weird way of saying resource. If there was something out there that was free that I could enhance my abilities with, I would have been all over that. In fact, I was all over it. It was different stuff when I was younger. But yeah, I think that I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm basically just trying to say, don't worry about feeling like you're a charlatan. Just go do you. Go do your thing. Commit to it, own it. Just any insecurities that you're feeling, just recognise it and work on it. Everything can be worked on, everything can be improved on, we can all be better. There is no end game to this. There is no you are perfect, that doesn't exist. Music is about personal experience and what you bring to any situation, and there is no one like you. There is no one like me, thank God. And yeah, just go do your thing, basically. And please don't compare yourself to others unless it's in a positive way. And I don't mean that putting other people down, I just mean if it inspires you. If other people inspire you, go do it. Be exposed to that more, because I certainly am. Anyway, I'm going to stop. But I hope you're having a good day. I hope this has helped and inspired you in some way, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will be back next week with another subject. If you have any suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you next week for another subject. I will speak to you soon. Alright, bye guys. Bye.
It's almost done too.